Alright, so today what we're going to do is show you how to create a overlay for interstate road signs or street signs or anything of that nature using CorelVideo Studio X8. So here, let's go. Alright, so the first thing that you want to do is you're going to open up your browser, and what we're going to do is we're going to search for Interstate Road Sign is what we're going to search for. And the road sign that we're going to get is going to be one of these few signs. Here's what a few of them look like. As you notice, the different interstate road signs. This one looks pretty good. It's a blank interstate road sign. It's a PNG file. It's got some blue and the red. Looks pretty good. If you notice some of the others, they're pretty small, like this one here for Arizona. Pretty small. You don't want to have a small road sign on this. You want to have a pretty decent size of a sign so that when you're scrolling around. Oh, and this one here won't work really well because when you do the mask overlay, all the blue will get knocked out and it will just not look good. This one here just has a bunch of writing on it, so doesn't look good either. The other thing is I think it's an SVG file, so that doesn't normally work in the Corel Studio X8. So I'm just going to go with this one. What we're going to do is we're going to click on it. We're going to right click and save the image. We're going to save it to our pictures folder and get the interstate road sign or interstate sign, name it so that you can remember it. And then next thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our video application. CorelVideo Studio X8 Ultima is what I use. I'm sure you can use other applications, but that's the one I use. Kind of migrated from Pinnacle Studio 8, I think, is what I started with about 10 years ago or so. Anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to add that saved interstate file to our objects folder under the objects. And notice all the PNG files there. What we're going to do is we're going to import that file that we just saved, the interstate file. So we're going to navigate to our pictures folder, select our PNG file, and here we go. Now we're going to just insert that onto overlay track 1 is where we're going to insert it. What I like doing is just setting it back to default size, and then I'll stretch it out to a little bit bigger so it fits on the screen. Kind of stretch it out a bit. Then the next thing that I'm going to do is center it so that it's always centered. You can also stretch out the image, and I'm going to stretch it out to about 8 seconds so that it just records about 8 seconds worth of image. And what I'm doing here is I'm setting it up so that this is pretty much a template or something that you can always use. And we're going to type in interstate because that goes up at the top, and we want that to be right there, kind of centered. Doesn't have to be exactly the same as what you would see on the road, but you know, pretty close. The big bold letters just make it stand out. And I'm going to stretch this out so that it's the same length of time as the one above, because we don't want it to be any less than our image above. We want it all to stay the same. Next thing I'm going to do is type in the interstate number. Oops, 41. No, it's not 41. It's interstate 75 is what I want. I want 75. What was I thinking? Let's see. I'm going to delete it. Start all over. Alright. 75. Here we go. Now I'm going to take that, center it, move it over so that it's to the end. Stretch it out a bit. And then I'm going to make this as big as the font can go. There we go. Kind of center it on there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the Customize Motion is what I'm going to do. With Customize Motion, it allows me to be able to expand it a little bit larger than what I can get it. So it just makes it a lot simpler, a lot easier to read. The other thing that you don't want to do when you're doing Customize Motion is have the motion between the 2 points. If you have the motion between the 2 points, of course it just would look ridiculous. So you want to make sure that you have no motion between the 2 points. Notice here, see, you just don't want to have that motion there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to center at the first point into the center. Then I'm going to copy and paste that to all points along my timeline. That way they're stay all the same and they're all right there. Okay, pretty much done. I've got it all set up. I've got Interstate 75. It's the blue, black background. Now I'm going to compile this video, this 8-second video, give it a name. And while we let it compile, I'm just going to speed up the video a little bit, use a time lapse on here. So here we go. We're going to click on the start. And we speed it up a bit for you. That way we don't cut that part out, but hey. Alright, that's done. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is we're going to create a new project. Oh, wait. I'm going to save this off. Call it Interstate Template, I think. That way, if you ever have to change the interstate number, you can always come back in here and change it. You don't need to create a new project or anything. You just come back in, click on the 75 or whatever your interstate number you're using. Alright, so we got a new project. I've already imported a segment of road that I'm going to do this overlay on. This is Interstate 75 I did a while back. It's actually in one of my other videos. You can check it out. So we're going to insert our 8-second video onto overlay track 2. And I'm going to go into mask chroma key, apply it, take out the black, and there we go. Now we've got a masked interstate road sign. Position it onto my timeline where I want, and just kind of scrub through it, kind of preview what I'm seeing. Okay, and alright, hey, there's the back of the truck. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do at this point is we can shorten up the timeline on that if you want. You can make it longer, or stretch it back out to the 8 seconds, depending on how long you want it to be visible. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to speed and time lapse. That kind of helps you also to increase or decrease your speed or the time length of the image. But I'm just going to leave it at 8 seconds. Alright, so now I'm going to go to Customize Motion. Here we go. With Customize Motion, shrink it down to the lowest possible size so that it's not there when you see it, but as the time goes on, it comes on out. And poof, there it is. It's all big. And you can make it smaller, bigger. You don't always have to use the small size. You can use a little bit bigger size, but this just kind of gives the road sign a nice effect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to position it actually right on the back end of the tractor trailer there, and have it come out the center of his doors, and poof, it comes right on up. and it'll wind up in the center of the screen is what it ends up doing as a large image. And now we're going to just take a quick preview of it. Here we go, quick preview. It may not be, it's a little shaky at first, but as you compile it, it'll be pretty smooth. And there you go, less than 10 minutes.